Four comedians are also real good friends, working on jokes, the fun never ends. They're asking each other, is this anything?
I would love if makeup was a little more normalized for men, because I think I'd rock some dope looks.
Yeah.
Would you do like a smoky eye, or what would you have going on?
Eye makeup all the way. Look, eyeliner. I look great in eyeliner. Like if I just,
You do?
I think eyeliner is normalized for dudes.
yes, very close. You know, like if you can do it good and pull it off good, you're just great. You're there.
So like a little highlighter would be nice on some of you.
Yeah.
I think you could cover up your acne with a little concealer. That should be normalized.
You know, it's interesting too, because if I had a preference, I'd rather go the other way and we all just dump it. But I was when I was in college, I did this field camp thing. It was sort of like a capstone from a geology major, and we were literally on the road, and we were 30 days of straight mapping projects, camping in the woods. It was a really cool experience, but we were doing it with many different colleges, many different universities. So we all, so I didn't know any of these kids. There were only like 2 people from my actual school at Stony Brook. And so I met all these new people, and all the girls who were on the trip, they weren't wearing makeup. They knew they were just going to be on a 30-day outdoor camping trip. And so I met these women for the first time, makeupless and just utilitarian, doing their thing. And then after 30 days of getting to know them, and we all became really close, the last day we had this like party of like, hey, we all finished the thing and you all passed the course and let's have a party. And the girls got all dolled up, and it was like fucking weird. It was like legitimately, I was like, what? Like they look like clowns. They look absolutely ridiculous, because I just got so used to their faces, their natural human faces, that when they put on like this blues and reds and pinks, I was like, what? What are you doing?
And they put on the giant clown shoes.
And the nose.
Sorry, before I got on.
I'm like, why are you doing that?
High in the face.
And then they all got back into their car together.
Pulling the bandana. Endless bandanas.
Before I got on, did Rob and Jarret switch personalities? That seemed
come you
pretty progressive and woke.
Why did you guys
What?
not?
Makeup?
No, thank you.
You guys didn't tell
I
me
have
about
March
the gray shirt uniform that we're doing today. I didn't know
Oh,
about
yeah.
I didn't realize.
Sorry.
You want to
Rob's
change?
embarrassed. Hey, Pam.
it. One of us should change.
Hi, Brett.
I have something that this makeup conversation just made me think of, and tell me if I'm completely out of left field on this, but I think that it would just be instantly hilarious if, Rob, your regular look was like a Chris Angel, like goth magician kind of a thing. It's one of those things where I don't think you would need any content even. I would just think that was funny. I think that would just be hysterical by itself.
I'm convinced this whole makeup thing started because I got on. You were like, this bitch has too much makeup on. And that's why I've been talking about this for the past 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're going to fit in really well with the paranoia aspect of this.
Okay.
Quite a few of us share.
Just my common, that's just my
Jarret
default.
constantly thinks that we're mad at him, so, this will be great.
Whereas I actually know.
Yeah.
As a
Right.
Jew, I feel like I came into you all being like, we don't really want
Also,
her here.
we're not mad at Anthony. Anthony's just more confident in his paranoia. Welcome, Pam. Welcome to Is This Anything? Rob, I don't think you have met Pam. Well, you're going by Pamela Rae now, right? I've known you by many different names.
I don't know. Call me whatever you want, but Pamela Rae is fine, yeah.
Okay.
I keep switching it up.
Welcome to the show. You know the format. We'll all take turns throwing out some joke premises, ideas, stories, what have you, any kind of semblance of an idea, and we will put you third. That's kind of the sweet spot. And give any feedback that you want to give. Don't give any feedback you don't want to give. Feel free to take the floor whenever you want. We are super happy to have you here. I'm a big fan of yours. I love you, and I'm glad you were able to come in and do it.
Always. You're one of my favorites, Brett.
Mwah. Okay. Do you guys want to blow kisses to Pam, too?
Please do. Please do. Thank you. Now I feel at home. This feels good now.
I think that should be a regular thing. We should probably all blow kisses.
Just
to
blow
the guests,
kisses.
just to welcome them.
I didn't know how many. I did 3. I didn't know if that was.
I was really hoping for even numbers, so if you can go ahead and take care of that, that'd be really great.
All right.
I hope we keep that when we don't have a guest.
Yeah, we should just always
Other
do
kisses.
it. Let's make it a regular thing. Why
I'll
not?
tune in every time you all are just blowing kisses to each other.
Ooh.
Hi guys, welcome to Is This Anything?
So the way that this works is Jarret has a machine called the Jarbinator. It randomly selects what order we're going to go in, aside from you, of course. So he will plug that into the machine, and then we will figure out what order we're going to go in.
All right, you
It's
guys
always
ready?
off camera. We don't actually ever see the machine, but it's there.
I believe it's real.
Trust it.
Yeah.
Well, one time before the show, I came in and like my hair was all scuffed, and I had like grease on my face, and my shirt was all torn and dirty, and I had a wrench. And I was like, I just finished building the machine, guys. You don't have to see it, but just look at the visual evidence that I was just working on something.
We believed it.
I thought that would do better. Okay.
I think you should have ended it with a bump, 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 ba-da. Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to turn on the jar machine and see what
That was it.
the order is for this week. We are going Rob, Brett, Pamela, Jarret, Anthony.
Hey, I'm first again. It's a great show. I love that. I love that show.
I watched it.
Great
for
guy,
years.
too.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about, right?
I've just heard crazy things. I know he's a Trump guy, but also he's like he used to sell a crazy amount of cocaine in the 80s while he was
Didn't
at
he
like
go
the
to rehab?
peak of his fame.
I think he
Yeah.
went to jail too.
It's so funny to me because like now comics do it because they're like I'm just nobody knows who I am. I gotta sell drugs on the side to make a living. But then it was like I'm the most famous comedian alive. I'm also gonna sell cocaine. Kinnison, like so many.
Good way to connect
famous
his
comedians.
fans.
What do we find out that show was like a major financial loss, and the only way that he could get the show made was to sell cocaine and like buy his own ads for that show.
I heard a clip of Rob Lowe on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about being famous in the 80s. And he actually was like, he was pretty funnily like admitting, he's like, who the hell would want to be famous now? And what's the point? Like in the 80s, I could do blow and just fuck up royally. And it's like, no one really was paying attention. But now it's like, what is the benefit of being famous when you can't?
No one
you
was
know-
getting canceled back then.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That was
Yeah.
his sort of,
Much
his thing.
easier.
And he got to have his fun, and he came away scot free. You know, he seems like he paid his dues, and he's good. Rob Lowe, I mean. Okay, I really just have an idea here to start off, and we'll see where this goes. Let me know if this is anything. You
That's the name of the show.
you ever get into like a hotel room and there's a hot tub in the hotel room, and you look at it and you go, "Whoa, this room's got a hot tub." That is the most joy you will ever get out of that hot tub. That's all I got. Just seeing it. Because I've experienced it so many times where I'm just like, "Whoa, look at this," and then it's like it's just a stupid thing, and like then I'm just
Big
like an hour.
bathtub.
Yeah, it's a big, I'm gonna have a bath later. It's just like it's not actually fun, and I've tried to make it fun, and like I'm so excited, and then I'm realizing I'm just running a bath, and it's like takes 45 minutes to fill up. I'm like,
But you use it? You use
like-
the jacuzzi in the hotel?
there'll be times, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't, because I've tried. I want it to be good. I want it to be fun, and then I'll just be sitting there like, yeah, this sucks.
This is gross.
Wish I had plans.
In all of these stories, you're alone? You're alone in the hot tub? It's
Yes,
honestly
every time.
Okay.
I wish I didn't cancel my plans.
Literally, this is a true story. One time I was so like, I was in a beautiful hotel. It was, and it was just like this awesome suite, and I got legit excited. I I was shooting a commercial. Even it was like all, and I wanted to like take advantage of all the things. And then I filled up the hot tub. I ordered pizza, and I was like, I'm gonna like do what like Macaulay Culkin would do in Home Alone 2, or a rock star. My heroes are Macaulay Culkin and Home Alone 2.
Same thing as far as I'm concerned.
And so I filled it up, and I literally was sitting there in some like gorgeous hotel down in like North Carolina, and I'm just sitting there in water, and there's just like getting soggy pizza, effectively, just in like a steamy bathroom, and I'm like, this isn't that great. I should get out.
I once did a week in Vegas at the MGM, and I had a jacuzzi, and I actually got a lady to come back to my place. I was like, hey, I have a jacuzzi in my place. We could have fun. And she was like, yeah. And that was the premise of like, it was a fun, exciting thing. And when we got back there, we filled it up. It took so long. We got in the jacuzzi for like maybe 3 minutes. We started having sex. We were like, we should really just go to the bed.
That's much better than the story I was about to tell.
Oh, I think I know your jacuzzi story.
Do you? I told you when I was on tour. The other dude that I was touring with, Daniel Crow, we had a jacuzzi in one of the hotel rooms on the whole tour. Out of a year, we had one, and I wanted to use it, just even if it was just to take a photo and post it or whatever, just to because it was there. And he was like, because we looked at it and it looked pretty gross, and he was like, it'd be funny if you made ramen noodles in there. And so I went down to the lobby and I bought a cup of noodles, and I came back, I filled it up, I threw the noodles in there, and I thought it was going to be hilarious. And it wasn't. And then I left them in there too long, and then they they got all bloated, and then I had to scoop all the noodles out, but they like went everywhere. They separated, and they were like in the filter, and it was actually kind of a nightmare. But
after about 3 minutes, you started having sex with it, and you were like,
I pictured that whole thing with naked, and I don't know, but that was the narrative in my mind. Was you scooping noodles out of a tub? Just
well, at that point, I knew I wasn't going in, so I was just watching the noodles from outside of the jacuzzi, and I was like, I thought this would be funnier.
Did you use the seasoning packet?
No, I didn't.
See, that was your mistake.
That would have made it fun.
That's actually a great photo opportunity. If you got just like 50 packets of ramen, and then you got in a jacuzzi and you poured them all in there, and then you sat in there like you're just in a giant bowl of ramen. I think that'd be cool.
Catherine Henson did that.
Yeah, I was just about to say someone who did that. Yeah.
Yeah, she has a lot of photos in there.
Rob, just real quick about that joke. The one.
The joke.
Right.
The one thing that stood out to me right away was that it sort of doesn't fit that you would be surprised by a jacuzzi in your hotel room unless people know about what performers and comedians' lives are like, where sometimes you just get like a nicer hotel room than you're expecting, Okay. So I think that should be that should be part of your justification at the very beginning. Is like, we don't make a lot of money as comedians, but sometimes there are fringe benefits. Like sometimes,
I would actually have to disagree with that. I think people get upgraded all the time, and they just say it's a suite, and you go up there and you're like, whoa, jacuzzi. I think that's pretty common for regular non-performers.
All right, that's fair.
I can test the waters. I would be inclined to agree with Brett that I think that is a common experience where you kind of scope the hotel room and you see what you got, what kind of amenities they have, and every once in a while you're like, hey, look at this. It could be a cabin. It could be whatever. I've had that experience many times where, I went to a friend's cabin and there was like a jacuzzi in the backyard. We're like, whoa, look at this. There's a jacuzzi. And then we never used it because it was like, we're not going to use it, right? But the excitement is real every time.
Yeah. Every time I go to any hotel room, I'm like, oh, look at this big round cylindrical pillow. I get excited about whatever I'm not expecting. I'm so happy about.
Blinds?
What am I going to do with this?
What are you going to do with this?
Blinds?
Me and you, Brett, have pillow fought with those cylindrical pillows, though.
Have we?
Yeah, I've hit you with those plenty of times.
He hit you real
we
hard.
call it
That's
a
why
lot
you
of
forgot.
Was this when you were filming your porno together, or was this at a different?
This was
It was
behind the scenes
when I had that
footage.
jacuzzi in Vegas.
Yeah.
Rob was the lady.
So right now, it really is just that observation, but it's strong. I think the observation makes
I also
people
think
get it.
I think the image of you alone in the hot tub on like a Saturday night eating pizza and like listening to rap music because you think that's what you're supposed to do is really funny, and I think there's room in the joke for like that part of it.
Yeah. There's something. I mean, the reason I brought it here to you guys is in part because like I've had it at this stage forever, and I don't really just do it on stage because I'm just like, what's next? What comes after that other than that thing? And I'm always kind of big on like finding a home for a joke, and I'm like, well, what else goes here?
You were alone, right? Did you feel like you needed to reach out to people, like call people up and be like, guess where I am? Or were you just happy being alone? Like,
That's funny. I did actually call a friend about it, but just to explain to her the funniness of that very premise. Because like I had thought about it before, but then when I actually like I really tried as hard as I could to make this cool and fun. And I was like, no, it's not that fun. It's still a bath. You're still just taking a bath.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. Let me turn down the bubbles. I'm in a jacuzzi.
it's so fun. This jacuzzi.
You called
is
me.
fun.
Why didn't you have the bubbles off?
What? Oh, the
you called
bubbles.
me.
Let me turn the bubbles down.
Do you think that it was less fun than if you had just ignored the jacuzzi and then thought all night about how much fun it could have been?
Yes, that's 100% true. That is the like crux of the joke, that the idea of a hot tub is just far more interesting and fascinating than an actual hot tub. So maybe there is an angle where I can think of other things that are cleverly and funnily. The idea of them is just better than the actual thing. Maybe that's the best way to go on that.
Do you think this might be funny? Like, because when you think about using a hot tub, you think about like champagne and girls in bikinis and cocaine, but like you have to get those things. They don't.
It doesn't come with
show up.
Doesn't
Yeah.
come with the jacuzzi.
I
only
filled
has
it up
jets.
and there was none of that.
They're like,
turns out-
we've upgraded you, and there's girls waiting with blow. So enjoy your stay.
Whoa!
the roadway
this
in.
room's got blow?
Last time I went to a hotel room with girls and blow, but there was no jacuzzi, so they just went home.
If you wanted to go analogous, I've also had the experience, maybe I don't know if you have, but when I have occasionally just taken a bath, I'm like, this is great. I should do this more often. Like, it seems too small, but then I get in there, I'm sitting, I'm like, this is really nice.
Like at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a
I've had
regular
that
bath.
too. Yeah. Every time I take a bath, I'm like, why don't I do this on a regular? Why am I just showering like a fool?
Why do I just worry about getting clean? Why don't I worry about sitting in my own filth?
What if you shower first and then take a bath?
That's the only way to do it.
That's the way they do it at the gym.
And then you also probably have to shower again afterwards.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
It's like a-
Yeah. No, I felt that way about bathing in general. I'm like, I should do this more. This should be like an everyday thing.
Oh, just like a shower?
Great. Yeah. I'm like, this is good. Water's hot. I should. Why am I avoiding these? Yes, I do. I think that that is truly true. I think that there also might be something to. I could get descriptive about when you're the feeling of it, because part of it too, when the hot tub's too big, it's like you're floating, but you're not sitting. That's why tubs are great, because like when you take a bath, you're just sitting in it. But the hot tub, you're like, I can't, and then you start like, you start thinking, you're like, oh, I gotta get. You're like, stop it. That's always a bothersome thing too.
When I was growing up, we had a hot tub and we had this like stone like lounge thing on the side of it. It was like made of stone and it was shaped like a lounge chair like that.
Familiar.
And looking at it in the jacuzzi, you're like, oh man, it must be great to like lay there in the hot tub. But then you do and you're like, no, it's still made of stone. It's still it's like sitting on a curvy rock.
It's an Tempur-Pedic stone.
Yeah.
You need to get that memory stone. Thank you.
A couple of years back, Aaron Berg got a jacuzzi, and I've got long hair, and I had a long beard at the time, and he told me he would never let me in his jacuzzi because of the hair.
I hate to tell you
weird.
this, Anthony, but it wasn't about the hair.
It wasn't about the hair.
It's just something he came up with.
It was about the fact you keep on throwing ramen noodles into everybody's hot dog.
I thought he liked it. Just trying to make dinner.
Anyway, that's my time. So
Oh, okay.
All right, good job.
Yeah, I love the joke. Love it, love it. Okay. Undercover cops. That's the only profession that people do undercover. And I am glad for that. I wouldn't want to make a new friend. And then we go out drinking all night. And he's like, hey, it's 2 a.m. We're drunk. He's like, you want to get some pizza? I'm like, hell yeah. And he's like, freeze, personal trainer. I'm like, oh, no. He's like, you're coming with me, pal. I'm like, oh, my God, you're taking me to jail? He's like, worse, Planet Fitness.
And then it's pizza day.
Yeah, but the good news is I still get pizza.
I thought the joke was going to be that he owned like a pizza restaurant.
I thought so too. I was like, oh, this guy's a pizza guy. And the whole
I know
Wow,
a great
yeah.
place, and it's like his face on the sign.
But actually, I was pleasantly surprised that he still was doing a bust, which was kind of cool. I'm glad that it was still a bust and that you were in trouble.
Oh, by the way, this wasn't a badge. It was just his Under Armour symbol. When he did this.
Was that always in the joke, or did you just think of that now?
No, that was in the joke. I just,
Okay, I was going to say, I'm like, that's pretty good, man. That should have been in the joke.
I couldn't think of a way to. Maybe I'll just say that afterwards.
That's great. What a perfect tag.
I also think anytime you're forced to go to Planet Fitness is funny. Like,
All right.
the idea of like,
Agreed.
you didn't go to jail, you went somewhere worse. Planet fucking Fitness.
I also, by the way, just as a side note, I love Planet Fitness.
I always thought it was weird that every single Planet Fitness has a bucket of Tootsie Rolls at the register when you go to sign in.
Well, it's good to have like a little bit of a sugar rush when you're about to work out, because you're gonna burn it off if you're about to work out, and so it won't add to like any fat or anything, and it does give you a little bit of a boost.
I enjoy the fruities.
Just another take.
Brett, what do you think about this wording at the end? I thought it'd be funny if instead of you saying, "Oh no, am I going to jail?" and he goes, "Where's Planet Fitness?" If he was like, "That's right, I'm taking you downtown," and you were like, "No," and he was like, "Yeah, the Planet Fitness downtown. That's the worst one."
Yeah, I like that. They don't clean their showers.
What were the other ideas for professions that you had, if anything?
First thing I had was gym coach, and then I couldn't quite set it up, and then I thought personal trainer. And I was like, that seems good. I like that.
The idea I had was you get in a cab to go to the Planet Fitness with the personal trainer, and the cab driver's like, "Sorry, buddy, undercover pilot," and you're like, "Oh no, this is a plane. We're going to Aruba." That's right. We're going to Denver. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a reoccurring nightmare I have.
I like that a lot.
What if it was somebody pretending to be a cop, and then they tried to bust you on something, and they're like, I'm not really a cop, and then a real cop comes and arrests them for impersonating a cop? Too much?
Well, you know what occupation does have undercovers is the male strippers that go to parties dressed as cops, and it's like they're reverse undercover, like they're pretending to be cops so that they can be undercover strippers.
If you combine 21 Jump Street and Magic Mike, then you get that movie. Strippers that are undercover
local
cops.
high schools.
He was a stripper pretending to be a cop, pretending to be a high school student.
But yes, for the original joke, I do enjoy the idea of, because it's undercover, all these other tropes that we've seen in movies and TV shows with undercover cops.
What if it's a cop who's under deep cover as a stripper for so long, and he doesn't realize he's undercover, and then it's like Total Recall, like he has to go in as a cop, and then it all comes flooding back to him. You know, he's like, wait a minute, this seems familiar.
I like that we're
How do I know how to
movie.
load?
What about Kindergarten Cop?
Ah, yeah, there we go.
He's on the way to the job, dressed as the cop, and his instincts kick in when there's a criminal, and he, disarms a mugger, and he's like, what? I'm just a stripper.
So it's like,
that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's like Memento. because he doesn't remember anything.
Right.
Yes.
We're
you think
focused
this
right
is a-
now on not a joke, but just writing a movie that skips the theaters and goes like straight to, what is it, Blu-ray, whatever they call it?
Pornhub.
Yeah, Pornhub.
Do you think this is a funny idea of a guy who's like, as a comic who says like, I worked as a stripper for a little while to make some money. I would do that thing, like they would hire me to like pretend to be a cop. But the cop that I was actually undercover as a high school student. So I just show up at these bachelorette parties as a high school student. And all these girls were like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm just here to hang out, just see if anybody's doing drugs,
I don't know if that extra time spent on this joke was helpful to you. But
It wasn't, but it was fun. And that's more important to me. You guys are not going to get my Secret Service joke.
Oh, no.
I'll give you the first part.
turns out he was just a stripper anyway.
How come we all know about the Secret Service? Okay.
I do.
Whose turn is it now?
Wait,
No, it's Sam's turn.
What's
All right.
what's the rest of the joke?
Sorry.
Tune in next week.
Tune in like I have a choice.
All right, Pamela Rae.
All right.
Okay. So this is a story that there's something there. I've just never told this story or talked about it on stage. And it's a little bit embarrassing, which is why I think I love it, and completely absurd. It's going to take me like a minute or three to tell the story, and then any of your thoughts. So right after college, for 7 months, I worked at a haunted attraction. For 7 months. It wasn't even a good one. It was in a mall parking lot. I think it was called Chainsaw Parking Lot, or like something along those lines. Throughout this entire story, I need you to have a visual. You can't see me right now if we haven't met in person, but I'm 4'6.5", and I have just like a lot of Tourette syndrome. So I need, I need you to know those two things going into everything you're about to hear. I saw an audition on Craigslist. I needed a job. So I went into like an open casting call, and I looked around and I was like, oh, everybody's already in costume. I soon found out that was just the way people who work at these for a living dress. That's their baseline, is they like switch costumes when they're ready to work, but they are in costume at all times. I auditioned. They asked me like, what, you get a list. I auditioned as the creepy child. I sat on the floor. I sang Itsy Bitsy Spider with a straight face and then screamed at the top of my lungs in the middle, and everybody shit themselves. It was fantastic. Was hired on the spot as the creepy child at the haunted attraction. They made us go through classes and workshops. So at one point they had us do like free, like you had to like practice not moving to be a statue, that's the word. And I was like, hey, like good at a lot of things, like still have Tourette's. That's just like never going to be something I'm good at. So that was a lot of conversations. So on my first day, I went in for my costume and makeup, and they put me in, third visual. At this point, I was morbidly obese. Makes it worse. Just like keep layering those. So they put me in
You were not the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
I was, no.
You were just the Bitsy Spider.
I wouldn't even say bitsy. I was just a spider. They put me in like a poofy pink dress. They froed my hair out like a doll hair, and then they splatter painted fake blood on me. And they put me in a room that would be my room through the haunted attraction called the Child's Room. And I sat in a blue child rocking chair for weeks, months of this haunted attraction, rocking back and forth. They made it look like I was like a blow up doll, let's be honest about size. And people would come up to me thinking I was like a doll, because there were other dolls and animatronics, and I'd go, play with me. Like that was my thing. Over and over and over again. You got bonuses at this if you made anybody, there were 3 types of bonuses. You got a bonus if you made someone throw up out of fear, pee out of fear, or shit themselves out of fear, but you had to prove it. So you had to essentially chase these people and get the managers to see what had happened. Oh, I had the most bonuses in the history of this place. Unclear why. But my most embarrassing moment of my life happened one day. Up until this point, I had not questioned all of my life decisions. unclear why not. But on this day that changed. I was sitting in the chair, rocking back and forth, and this girl came up real close. I thought, trying to figure out if I was a doll. I looked up, I said, play with me, and she goes, Mom? Dad? This is Pam, my camp counselor. And that was the day that I questioned all of my life decisions. So I've thought about this a lot. No part of this has made it into my stand-up. And there's like other stories, like you're supposed to follow people who are really afraid of you. And I did, and she did this into my eye, and they had to call 911.
Oh my God, what's the bonus for that?
Shut and it just
Pay the medical bills.
It was 7 months of that. So
That's great. It's a great story.
That's an
There's
incredible
so much in there.
I don't even know. So just any of your thoughts. Let's do it.
I actually had a ton. I don't know if anybody else wants to go.
I'll throw one in there.
Yeah.
I do want to know. So you did it for 7 months, but it goes year round.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's like seasonal, but most of the seasons.
Okay, so
No,
probably you would only work there for 7 months anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like maybe there's a joke in there for some reason. Like I only did it for 7 months. Also, it only goes for 7 months.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
But that's funny because it's like the only months that it would make sense would be October or the months surrounding October.
Yeah.
But it went for 7 months. There are 5 months that they're like, we can't make Halloween things work during these 5 months.
Yeah,
But for some reason,
I would love that visual of like
April is fine, I guess. You know?
which of these characters is suffering the most when it's really humid and hot out? Why they can't? Like, what is happening to the zombie? You know, I would love something in there.
Or the mummy, because he's all wrapped up.
There was 1 month where the clown paints just like.
Yeah.
Which months were they? Which were the 7 months of the year?
I have to go back through and look. I remember there were months at a time where nobody came, and they just called it rehearsals.
It's got to be
Really
September through what, April? Super funny if it was not, if it was like, you know, December through July or whatever. July is the worst.
Don't actually do it on Halloween. We're more authentic.
The Craigslist audition thing popped out to me as well, which is kind of funny. I mean, because you were sort of experimenting a little bit with doing some asides, which I think could kind of go either way with a story like this, where you're like, I just want to get to the meat and potatoes of this story. But with this one, I think that it's super fun and your personality's great, that you should splinter off into every side joke and side possibility as possible. Like, just let the audience know early on it's not about what happens at the end. We're not waiting for that. You are just going to enjoy every little, you know, distraction and detraction that I take here. Starting with, just as one, I wrote some of the things down that stuck out to me, like the Craigslist audition, which just makes me laugh to begin with. Like, a comment or two or just a little bit of a diversion to be like, that's just already an audition you don't want to be going on. Like, there are websites dedicated to auditioning. So the Craigslist auditions, you already know that you're kind of like in a...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my audition is on Pornhub somewhere.
Right. Like, you can take time, and I don't have the jokes for you necessarily, but I think you can take time to sort of pause at each one of these little details that so it's there, the information's there, but you haven't like dug into them yet.
Yeah. That's probably not the weirdest Craigslist audition.
Yes, right. Like, you actually got lucky that there was a job at the end.
That's very funny.
And then I've noticed, like, the 4'6"
Half.
thing. So
and a half.
And a half. I'm this many.
That's important.
I love that too, and I know that you said that at the top, so you expect the audience to already know. But I think it's worthy of a reminding of the audience that when you're 4'6", you know, that's what you get. You get the creepy child roles. You know, that's what we're going in for. And you kind of know. You're like, you know, you see other 4'5" girls. You're like, stay away from that. That creepy child. That creepy child's mine. I'm
You're going to be the pumpkin.
It'd be
Yeah,
funny
if
if
you
you showed up expecting the creepy child. You already dressed like the creepy child.
I mean, I did. That was the role I was going for. That was
Right.
I know my lane.
That's the joke I want to hear. I want to hear all of the acting jokes that you could do, all that stuff butted up with this thing. Where like, I'm typecast. Like, hey, here's my thing. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That kind of thing. I think all that stuff's really funny to explore.
You did touch on you have a joke which I really liked, but I feel like you could go farther with it, which was that you think that like, oh, these people are already in costume, and then you find out, oh, this is just how they dress. I definitely want an example there.
Yeah.
But I love that joke. But yeah, I definitely want to hear about the guy who's just head to toe hot topic. His hair looks like it's dripping blood and stuff like that. I don't know exactly, but I definitely want that picture painted.
Or you could go ahead and mistake it for something very specific. You're like, oh, that's cool. This is like a trailer park themed haunted experience where everybody's like backwater town, hills have eyes situation. Oh, that's just your. Okay, I'm sorry.
Ooh, I like the whole pregnant thing you got going on right now.
Oh, speaking of pregnant, I thought it would be funny if one of your bonuses was if you ever induced labor.
Ah,
Oh,
That'd be a nice.
you're
little-
right. Make it more than that one. You're
I don't know. I was just thinking of all the other ones. You can have your real story and be like, these are real, and then you could have,
Yeah.
check that in somewhere else later. I was thinking of other things that could fuck someone else. Like, wow, Jerry made someone die the other night. Like, whoa.
he owns the place
He's
now.
retiring.
He's retired.
He's driving a Bentley to work the next day.
Yeah, you got a great severance package. He severed someone's.
So yeah, I got a bunch of stuff. So the first thing that stood out to me was when you called it a haunted attraction, which I think is funny just by itself. You could probably dig into that. Like, you might think that the only thing that could be haunted is a house because that's what you guys hear. But no, this is a haunted attraction. We had to call it that because it was a parking lot. The Craigslist thing made me think of this. So what I ended up doing was I was a little girl sitting in a chair, and if the Craigslist ad had said that that's what I was auditioning for, I wouldn't have gone. And I know that because I saw that ad on Craigslist, and I was like, no, thank you.
for the first 2 weeks, they kept me in a cage. I need to remember that.
Little girl in a chair in a cage.
I like that during the story. I know it's not how you would always tell it, but I like that you added things that you forgot after the fact, like the kind of frantic. Like there's so much to tell that you can't possibly tell it in the right order every time. I thought, to me, that kind of added to the charm of how insane this was. That as you're telling it, you're
Yeah, that's
You're right.
true. Yeah, there's something endearing about that if that's the way you went ahead and told the story. Because I've seen comics pull that off to a lot of success, where they're just frenzied in their story, but the things that they do come up with are like, oh my god, and then the audience just falls in love with that sort of personality trait. I'm trying to think of some comics I've seen recently.
Kathy Griffin is like that, right?
Kathy Griffin
yeah,
is a
Kathy
great
Griffin,
example
yeah.
of that.
I think Janine Garofalo probably too.
I've seen comics I know more personally, like Robin Shaw. I've seen do that
Oh,
to
yeah.
some great effect too, where she just seems like this is your fun aunt, and she just fucking sitting you down and telling you a fun story, and you're just like, what, or something like that.
I also wanted to hear more about staying still class. I think that's a real. There's a real bevy of because you think that you're good at standing still until you go to class, and you're just like,
Sometimes they'll combine standing still class with CPR class.
if that's actually your final exam, if they go to give you CPR and they're like, this isn't a dummy, this is a person, he's just like, well, you passed, but you failed.
I thought that the payoff was going to be that when the kid was like, "This is my camp counselor," that the parents shit their pants.
The last thing I wanted to say was about the bonuses, where it reminded me of when I worked in a retail store, and like at the checkout they would be like, "Did anybody help you out with this purchase today?" And then the person that would get the name would get like the bonus. So it's like they have somebody at the end of the clipboard, and you're just like, "And who made you vomit today?" Fat scary child. Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, she's great. She's wonderful.
Was it fat scary child or medium scary child?
So
We have
many
6
scary
of them.
children.
Can you be more specific?
They're all in
One of-
cages.
One of the bonuses is that you get a closer parking spot, but it's really not that exciting because it's a parking lot.
Also, when you said at the very end, like that you got recognized as being your old camp counselor. I was going to go the other way of what Anthony said, that scared you, so she got a bonus.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh.
And she's your boss now.
Yeah. But I did put my life back on track. That was it for me. That was like it's time to get the fuck out of here. And then I finished out more months.
You know you have to quit your shitty job when you get recognized from your previous shitty job. It's just like, oh, God. No, I don't recognize you from this dump. What's that other shithole?
I know you from
summer
somewhere.
camp in Indiana.
I know you from somewhere. It's like I'm the janitor of your high school. It's like no, that's not it. You work at McDonald's.
It's a real lateral move, that camp counselor to parking lot scary girl thing.
Wait. Play with me. Now say play with others.
Say make a lanyard with me.
Because it's not a haunted house, it's just some haunted attraction that happened to just be a parking lot, that you're convinced it was just a parking lot, but it just kind of got worse and worse until eventually they're like, we should just say it's haunted. charge money.
Congregating.
You think we should repay the parking lot? Just say it's fucking haunted. Start scaring people. There's needles everywhere. Yeah, I know.
Andrew, how many times have I told you about fixing up that parking lot? It's terrifying, all right?
By the way, there's a piece I didn't tell you, but after the black eye situation, they didn't want me working as a creepy child for a little bit. So instead, what I'd do is I'd pretend like I was going to the haunted attraction as a kid, and my friends just stood me up, and I'd get in line with a group of middle or high school girls, and I'd be like, I already paid, but like, my friends aren't here. Can I just go through with you? And there are signs everywhere that the haunters can't touch you, but I wasn't just like a normal person. So we'd go like 10 feet into one of the houses, and they would like break something fake over me and pull me out screaming just to like
That's
totally
great.
fuck with these kids. And there was every time these girls just took off, they were like, peace, bitch. And they left me. Like, out like an hour with them in line becoming friends. One time, though, it was a black girl, and she was like, no, you fucking don't. And she pulled me back. And she's my best friend now. She was the only one that made sure I wasn't getting murdered by a clown.
I think you should definitely include that story. That's phenomenal.
100%.
Really funny.
So,
Yeah,
so
I love
they're
that.
they're not allowed to touch the customers.
No.
Because when you were telling me about some of this, or telling us about some of the stuff, I was thinking of how legal any of it was, like chasing people that potentially.
it's probably
shit their
not legal.
pants. Yeah.
Well, they're not allowed to touch you, but if you go into the champagne room, it's a little like,
Because even just
Pay a
saying,
little
like,
extra.
how old was the person that you said, "Come play with me"? Like, imagine it was like some dude saying it to some.
All ages, genders.
I'm not sure of the legality of most of this stuff, so it's interesting that they have lines that they're like, you can't cross this line.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of enamored with the idea of the fact of the legitimate, veritable danger that you or these other people might actually be putting themselves in. Like, as if the hiring standards and practices, like, are people running drugs out of there? Are people doing other? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this like low? All walks of life are deciding to work there, so there's some real element of fear there too. I don't know. I'm not saying.
No, it was a mess. They paid us in cash, and the whole time they were like, we're paying taxes on it already, which is why you're getting much less. And then like 7 months later, I got my taxes, and they were paying taxes on it. It just was such a mind fuck of an experience.
Wow, that's so crazy.
I wish it for all of you.
It's funny. It's funny to think of a haunted house or haunted attraction as a front for some other.
You keep saying haunted house, but like attraction is a higher level.
Is it?
It's a real deal. We weren't some Boy Scout kids putting a haunted house together.
That's so funny.
and the lower level is haunted fort.
I had a haunted house joke because I love haunted houses, and what you're describing sounds so awesome to me. The fact that it was that visceral, it's great. When I moved to New York, I was really upset about the fact that the haunted houses kind of sucked here because they weren't houses at all. They were like haunted loft apartments, and they just were kind of like separated with plywood, and you just walked through like a little tiny maze. And then I always had an issue with like continuity. It was just like, because every room was different. You'd walk into one room and there'd be like a butcher who's like chopping up people's body parts in one room, and then the next would just be like some chick who screams all the time. That was just like her thing. And then there was like Ghost, and then there was like the guy with the chainsaw at the end, and that's it. And I was like, it's a big suspension of disbelief for me. Like, what am I supposed to believe? Like, all these guys went in on an apartment together? Like, what's the
Weirdest roommate situation in New York.
It's also a studio, so you just had to turn.
It's like, yeah. And I hated that whole concept. I want like a theme. I think it would be cool to have like, oh, it's an insane asylum, not just like, hey, I chop up.
That was one of them.
Hey,
that was.
I like that.
I like that Rob is going into haunted houses like, what's your backstory? I'd be scared if I don't believe.
It's so hard for me to enjoy them now because like I see the out of work gay actor behind all the makeup now. They're just like on their cell phone, boo, and I'm like, come on, man, that's why you're not doing summer stock. Come on.
You would have seen me and been like, damn, go back to summer camp. Like that was a step up. I see you.
I have a complaint. The zombie threw his headshot at me.
I hand out my business cards. Play with me. Also hire me. Also, I'm a master.
That's what happens after you finish chasing them down when they shit themselves. And you're like, see, look, he shit himself. And then you give the business card.
Did you have your master's at that point?
No, I think I didn't yet.
Oh, okay.
No, it would have been funnier. I should switch it because it's funnier if I do.
Yeah.
What's your master's in?
Child advocacy and public policy.
Oh, very cool.
I went to school for
And
2
you were
years.
like,
I'm not
kids should not be put in cages.
Here's proof of me in a cage.
I was just sitting there in a spooky cage thinking, children shouldn't have to deal with this. This is not. This
I need
is
to go
really
back to school.
happening. I need
Somebody
to
play with me. Well, I hope that was helpful, Pam.
It
I hope
was.
you got some good stuff in there.
It's
If
such
you-
a funny story.
Thanks for sharing with us and coming on.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you for having
Who
me.
is up now?
Now
Mr.
it's
Jarret?
Jarret. All right. So I have this. I have like a couple of ideas knocking around about when my dad passed away. Sorry, we're getting kind of heavy at the top. And I don't know where this is going to fit in exactly, but the idea that I had was just that we don't really know all that much about the process of like when somebody dies, like what happens, you know? Like we think we know from like movies and television, like, you know, oh, there's like the funeral parlor and the hospital and everything like that, but you don't really know like all the steps that go in between, you know? Like when my dad passed away, he was in our house, and you know, like we had to call, you know, the funeral parlor to come pick him up. And you just always assume that happens in a hearse. But I went outside as they were taking the body away, and they put him in a Kia Sedona. And as I was watching them put my dad in this Kia Sedona, I was like, how do I even know that they work for the funeral parlor? So that's the idea. It's very much not fleshed out. So
I love
love
dead dad
that.
stuff. I've been working on dead dad stuff
I
since
am
I started
too.
comedy.
Since before my dad died.
every time I go visit him, I'm like, come on, Dad. A solid hour. Fucking kick the bucket.
Got some gems in here. If you just give me an opportunity.
I think that you can maybe alter the premise a little bit to just say there's a lot of trust involved because we don't really know the process. That may tip it. I don't know.
But then I feel like you would need some other examples other than just the not being a hearse and stuff like that.
I think you should have more examples anyway, because there are some more interesting things that definitely go on with the death stuff.
It's weird that you know that about my dad's death. There were a lot more interesting things that happened. I was wondering.
How do you think he died? I don't know where Rob was that night.
I don't know if this is helpful at all, but at my aunt's funeral, I did not know that in Jewish burials, you are supposed to cover most of the coffin yourselves. And so it was like, I thought we just throw a little dirt on and then you move on. But then there were like two people who knew the religion well, two like middle-aged guys, and they like saw that nobody else was doing it, and me and my brother, who were like younger, in shape dudes, were just like watching them like take off their jackets and hang them on a shelf, like, and we were like, are we supposed to? We just weren't sure.
Meanwhile, the gravedigger is taking a lunch break.
Yeah, also, Brett, I don't know that you do have to do most of the work. Maybe your family's overachievers.
I think you're supposed to cover most of the coffin with it. No, you're not supposed to like fill in the entire thing, but I thought the whole coffin was
In my family, we've all done like one. Be good.
We went to a very cheap funeral. They're like, hey, we'll
Discount.
take half the price off
Groupon.
if you bury
Groupon
yourself.
funeral.
I hate to break it to you, Pam, but your family members didn't go to Jewish heaven. Still waiting to be buried the rest of the way.
That's okay. Jewish heaven is regular purgatory.
That is true.
Oh, that's good.
Actually, in our tradition, you have to embalm the body and also put it in the coffin and dress it and then lower the coffin and then put all the dirt on top of it and then build the mausoleum. It's just like it's about community building and not because we're cheap.
I didn't even know that if somebody dies in your home, that you don't still call a hospital. You just go right to you cut out the 911 is not even a part of it. You're just like, all right, I need the yellow pages. We got to just send it straight to the whatever local funeral home. Is that how?
And your
Yeah.
dad's like, I'm still alive. Please call the hospital.
Something that I just thought about that I might include in this, and I want to put it here so it's on the recording, is that after my dad passed away, we realized that the hospital still had his teeth because he had dentures. And so we had him cremated, and we were like, but wait on the cremation. We have to go back to the hospital and get his teeth so that we can have that cremated with him.
Why wouldn't you
and
just keep the teeth?
That was the thing, is like
Weird.
he just
They're not
didn't have
real.
his teeth.
Did you cremate his glasses too? I don't get.
I think the way that the funeral parlor explained it to us, they were like, once you have like an extra thing on you, like a new hip or a prosthetic limb or something, they consider that part of the body, and so like that gets
So they
cremated with them.
They won't do it unless.
No, they were just saying that that's what they consider it, and so
What
you
if
want,
someone in my family has a fake hip and I want that shit back?
Right, it's expensive. Do you know what I pay for that hip?
just gonna burn it?
titanium?
Yeah, I'm gonna melt it down.
I'm gonna turn it into some Wolverine claws for Halloween.
That's a very
Your
unique.
grandma had an adamantium hip? What was your grandma doing?
She was special forces.
That's funny. Well, if my like grandpa had a gold tooth, I think I'd want to keep it.
Yeah, melt it down. Cash for
Yeah.
gold.
Oh, yeah. The crematorium's like, oh, no, we need that. We need that. It's got to be in there.
It's part of him. Part of him.
If he had any money in his wallet, you
Yep.
got to put that in there.
He was wearing that
Married
watch. It
people
was
with
on
their
him.
credit card numbers too.
That angle, everything we just said, it is, I think, the correct angle because of what you just said about the teeth. It fits right into what you just said. It's something that I didn't know legitimately about the death process where you're like, oh, do we have to include that? You're like, yes, if it's on them, then blah, 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 blah. And then I think from there you can very make these easy logical leaps of just like, are they just trying to keep more things about the body? That could be one way in which you sort of question.
There's like a flea market with all this stuff. You walk by, like, it's my grandfather's teeth.
Is this funeral home connected to a pawn shop?
Pawn shop is called like unrelated pawn shop or something.
If he played guitar, you got to put that in there. Any computer.
It's a pawn home.
I just have
You
this,
really
like,
turned this pawn shop into a pawn home. That's funny.
funny visual of like the furnace just being like a wall, and then as you like slide the body in, it just slides the body like a new wall into the pawn shop. He's like take like the same wall. All right, let's get him. He's taking off all his clothes, all his stuff.
Yeah. He's got to be. He has to be wearing his most expensive suit.
Well, you want him to look ugly in heaven?
It's our policy.
We noticed you put him in a cheap pair of glasses. Do you not have a nicer pair? I want to go with the nicest pair you have.
Are those snakeskin boots?
That whole idea. I like that concept.
Yeah, no, the original idea that I had when I brought up the teeth was that I thought it was funny that at the hospital there were just these teeth. They were just there. And nobody was like, oh, this is a hospital room. They have the boop boop machine. They got the television. Like, they should know that these teeth shouldn't be there. You know?
They're checking up on the teeth like it's a patient. They're like,
Yeah,
looking at the chart. How are you feeling today?
Doctor, I'm a little worried about the teeth in room 5. It doesn't have a rest of the body around it.
I couldn't find a vein for the IV.
You come back and there's just like a bed with the teeth in it.
We did everything we could.
Oh, that plug.
This is a real stretch, but then like a family's trying to visit your dad's teeth, and it's just like, they said my grandpa was in room 5, and this is room 5, so it's like, well, that's clearly a mistake because those are just teeth. Hey, Grandpa!
I'm very sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We have some troubling news about your grandfather's teeth. There appears to be a cavity. Oh, no.
It's terminal.
There's a joke that my dad used to tell years ago. I don't know why, but it's so stupid. What are these like stupid long jokes that go on for too long? And it's basically a guy who's trying to, his loved one, and we're like, well, you can't see your son yet. Like, why not? Well, he lost his legs in the accident. You're like, oh my god. Then it comes back, we can't. He lost his arms. And you're like, what? He's like, yeah, he's just a torso and a head. We're so sorry. Comes back a few days later, like, can I see my son? You know what? I may have lied. It's not. It's really just a head. He's a head. We're sorry. And then it's like, actually, I may have been embellishing with the head. He's kind of more like just an ear. You're like, oh my god, it's just an ear. What could be worse? Well, he's deaf. And this is like the stupid joke that my dad would tell. It would take like 10 minutes when he would do it. And I'm like, what? It reminded me of that.
I love that joke.
What did he write?
I don't know. I'd have to ask him. But it's such a silly joke, and but he's a good storyteller. So he always does these really long bits, and at the end he's deaf. So
That's all I had today, guys.
Okay.
It's just the Kia Sedona.
Who do you have next to you, Rob?
Oh, that's my brother Steve.
Oh, Steve. Hey, Steve.
Hey.
Oh,
Wait, it was his birthday, right? The
Yeah,
other
it was
day?
his birthday just a few
Happy
days
birthday.
ago.
Happy birthday again.
Yeah.
In case he didn't hear us last time, he really needed the iPad.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They're all wishing you happy birthday. That's what it is. Yeah.
The one idea that I had that I forgot to ask about was funny ideas for what a person just stealing my dad's body would do with it.
Sure.
And so, like, the only idea that I came up with, like, maybe this is a person who's just, like, collecting bodies for a weird-ass puppet show.
I was going to say
Or something like
puppeteer,
that.
very, very into their craft.
Yeah. Or someone needs to Weekend at Bernie's my dad for some reason.
Or like a body pillow.
That is the line of the session.
Anthony?
All right, cool.
I think I just have one idea this time. And it
It's
could
a
be
story about when I worked at a haunted attraction.
and my dad died. I wrote it as a quarantine joke, but it doesn't have to be. But it's I gained a little bit of weight recently, but I'm not too worried about it because I just started writing a screenplay for a film that I'm going to star in. So now I'm telling everyone I gained weight for a role.
And it's called
The
Man Who's Fine with His New Body.
Leave him alone.
It's called Now I Have Acid Reflux from gaining too much fucking weight. It's
I like what's the actor? I'm trying to think of
Christian Bale?
yeah, Christian Bale, exactly. Something to do with Christian Bale.
That's enough for you, Anthony, right?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Thanks for watching.
See why we started this, Pamela? We're really good at offering feedback.
I just want Anthony to be like, Christian Bale, of course! Oh, that's so funny! Oh, that totally opens up the jack.
Wait. I actually do have it now. Unfortunately, though, the studio recast my role they recast Christian Bale as my role.
So now I'm just fat.
That's funny.
None of my clothes fit, and
Because he is the quintessential actor known for gaining and losing weight.
yeah.
Oh, now I'm putting on muscle. Now I'm putting on fat. Now I'm putting on fat and muscle. Now I've lost a lot of everything. Now I'm just a consciousness floating in a bowl.
It's just an ear.
I love this idea that for years, when you've gained weight, you've been like, it's for a movie. When you accidentally were playing basketball and someone knocked a tooth out, you were like, it's for a movie. And at some point, your friends are going to be like, he's never fucking been in a movie. Like,
I've never seen this movie. When is it coming out?
I had a Christian Bale thing where I was just like, I always felt bad because his wife, they have 3 kids together, and in that household, there must be a lot of pressure on the wife to kind of get back into shape after having a kid, because there's no shaming that husband. Being like, do you know how hard it is? He's like, yeah. I think
I did
know
The
what it's like.
Machinist after Batman or whatever it was. No, he did American Psycho, then The Machinist, then Batman, right?
Right, exactly.
I really do like actually Pam's route on the joke where this is now an excuse for you. Maybe the first thing it works, people are like, oh, it's for a movie. And then you're just like, cheating on your girlfriend. Oh, no, it's for a movie. It's for a movie. Just like he's
Research.
excusing all of these. Yeah.
like you get caught with a prostitute. You get caught like doing coke off of a prostitute, and you're like, I'm filming.
It's a Tarantino.
I like that route. I don't know, for some reason I also want to combine that with the role, the prestige of what you're doing getting a little bit less for whatever reason. This is for a made-for-TV movie, or this is for a mini series.
This is for an Instagram story.
It's for
I put on 15 pounds for an Instagram story.
Also,
Ends it just being for a TikTok.
Yeah.
it's not really a movie. It's more of a lip sync. The Prestige, by the way, Christian Bale.
That's right.
You did say The Prestige. I needed to point that out.
She's
Great
great.
movie.
He gained 200 pounds for that movie and then split into a twin. Sorry, spoiler alert. That is one of the twists.
We're not going to celebrate him for gaining 200 pounds. It's not that hard.
Pam, how much weight did you lose?
Like 130 pounds.
Yeah, but she put it on first, so don't give her too
Guess which way was more fun?
You can't take it off until you put it on. So
That's
And I
incredible.
really wanted
130 pounds.
accolades. So I spent years gaining so that I could get all the accolades when I lost it.
That's amazing. How long ago was that?
I spent about 3 years losing it, and I've been maintaining now for a few years.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, until COVID.
Yeah.
Back
now
up.
I'm getting ready for a movie.
Now I'm filming a movie though. The donuts are allowed.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why I'm enamored with the idea of if you're going to go that route of blaming things on movies, then also the quality of that filmed piece keeps on degrading as well, as if you're getting absurd in both directions. Again, I'm trying to think in your mindset a little
Yeah.
bit too, Anthony. I'm like, oh, that might be a fun thing to do.
I gained weight for a commercial, a weight loss commercial. We shot the after first.
That's really funny. We just shot it in reverse.
Before Weight Watchers,
That's great.
I was 100 pounds heavier and 6 months older.
I don't know what would be. It would still be like a movie. Then it's made for TV movie. Then it's, I guess, a commercial. And then I don't know what the order of. I mean, I'd be psyched to do any of it.
I think the last step should be like a GIF.
You had a joke earlier about people not having seen you in anything.
Oh,
this is
yeah.
loosely related to that, in a way.
Yeah. That what was it? You may have seen me in a movie or a TV show if I had ever done a movie or TV show that was remotely popular, something like that.
Right. But notice Pamela when she laughed, because it's actually a part of what we were saying, that the idea that you just
That I've
didn't do
never
it at
been
all.
in anything.
Yeah.
It could
I know it's
stop
not
there.
reality. I know it's not true. I saw Mute Date. I know you've been in things.
I
You
was
think
on
mute dates?
CISO with Brett. I was on Laughs on Fox. Maybe with Brett? No, that was before you were on it.
Every
Yeah,
time Anthony
80 times.
claims that he was on television, he points to it. He's like, see? So I was on.
That's adorable.
Thank you.
That was great.
This is not super related, but I did have an old tweet, which was there's a movie on Amazon. This guy, he not only starred in it, but he also produced and directed and wrote it. He must have nailed that audition.
That's funny.
I don't know if, do you guys have anything else for this this idea?
I don't.
Hey, something. Maybe you learn things about the character, and you're like, I knew this character was going to be bigger, but I didn't realize my character was going to have all this, whatever. And you
Heart
just- other-
palpitations.
Yeah,
and high
yeah.
cholesterol.
Right.
I knew he'd be bigger, but I did not expect the sleep apnea.
Yeah, right. I'm really getting to know my character quite a bit. He has trouble sleeping at
He
night.
lost a foot from diabetes.
He gets to take a nap every time he comes. Actually, that's pretty.
His character's girlfriend is not attracted to him anymore.
Really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
who was the actor that was in Chinatown and he was the first Joker in Batman?
Jack Nicholson?
Jack
Ah,
Nicholson.
yes. Jack Nicholson. Some of that.
That doesn't have anything to do
Something
with
with that.
Yeah.
the bit.
Yeah, he's a good actor. So
Yeah.
maybe there's something.
Yeah,
there.
it'll be
I'm
fun.
sure you could tie that in somehow.
Again, Anthony's like, Jack Nicholson, of course! This joke makes so much more sense.
It's the missing piece.
My process, guys. I also delivered some great gems too.
You definitely have, which is why it's so much funnier to make fun of you for this edition.
Christian Bale.
I was like,
There you
oh
go.
man, how's he going to tie this in? All right, I'm done.
Just
And you
a-
didn't even think of it. We thought of it.
It's very true.
Wait, guys, what's that thing that Einstein did after Unified Theory? Unified Theory. That's it.
He never did. He wanted to, but he died.
He worked on it until he died. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to make sure that everyone knew that.
Yeah. Christian Bale ended up finishing it.
Lost a
He
ton
was
of weight for it.
lost a ton of so skinny when he did it. That's how he did it. He got really fat, and he saw how the universe reacted to his body, and then he got skinny, and then he's like, oh, you know what? There is a unified theory to how matter reacts.
I could have told you
All
that.
things.
I guess that's it.
All right.
I also just thought of it. I have nothing else for this, but the guy who's supposed to put on 20 pounds for a role, but he puts on 50. Has that ever happened?
Never achieved.
And then he has to lose weight for the role that he had to gain weight for originally.
Something about that.
I don't know if that's happened, but I did hear that John Goodman had to lose weight to play Babe Ruth.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, he was too fat in that movie. I feel like, still.
Not enough as far as Rob's concerned.
But I do like the idea of gaining weight for a role, but then it's too much, and then having to lose it. That's actually very funny.
I do like thinking about Babe Ruth in heaven, and then just being like, hey, you never guess who they cast as you in the movie about your life, John Goodman, and he's like, ouch. I
You know, I was a
not that
professional
fat.
athlete.
Jesus.
I'm the all-time home
Maybe
run
Warren
record.
Beatty could have gained 20 pounds or something. Like, I feel like that's what I look like.
You seen John Goodman now?
He's,
looks
he's
good.
very thin.
Yeah.
What a fantastic actor, too.
Oh, great.
I love John
Yeah.
Goodman.
Yeah, he's excellent.
Fat or skinny, I don't care.
At the end of every episode, we backpedal all the people we made fun of throughout.
Nice
It's
thing.
like, but that guy's a great. Christian Bale's wonderful. Kia Sedona is an incredible car for taking dead bodies away.
It is reliable and affordable.
Trustworthy.
And
Cool.
the Jews are great.
Wait, when did that happen? I don't remember that part.
Was that
I went to
just-
get water at one
boy.
point. I didn't.
Do we just cover our bases at the end of everything? Or and we like the Jewish people.
We should have like one of those disclaimers that scrolls up really quickly. Where it's like,
No, come on.
When I've been posting comedy clips on YouTube, I've been doing like disclaimer. please keep in mind I'm a comedian. Like, don't cry over anything I say.
Is it working?
I just did one yesterday, and we'll find out.
I thought that disclaimer was going to be about like all the awful comments that women comedians get online versus men. And so I thought your disclaimer was going to be like, I'm not a cunt. I'm not this, So just don't call me that.
Although I had a troll recently who said mean things, and I just felt like it was uninspired. So I'm assuming, I think it was a he, I don't know, but I sent back a list of things that like would have been better. I was like, all you commented on was this, like, here are areas that you can up your troll game and like might hurt my feelings. Like, let's do better.
I don't like that.
You guys ever hear Lance Weiss's joke where he's like, some female comic posts a thing on YouTube in the comments like, "This girl stinks. I'd fuck her though." He's like, I posted something on YouTube and this guy was like, "This guy stinks." I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
I have seen him do that. I love that. I forgot that was his. That's a good joke.
I love Lance Weiss. Pam, thanks for joining us for this edition of Is This Anything? If you folks at home enjoyed it, you can find all of our stuff on YouTube, Is This Anything Pod. And if you want to see episodes a week before they come out, you can go to patreon.com/ITA pod, and we'll have all kinds of extra clips as well as early episodes on there. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you in the comments. I fucking nailed it again.
Yeah.
That was great.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check back for more individual clips and full episodes every Monday, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to support the show and get access to special fan-only content, go to patreon.com/ITA pod. That's ITA pod, as in Is This Anything podcast. Relevant links in the description. Take care.